Welcome into Inside LAFC Podcast. My name is Max Bretos. It's a glorious day here in Alhambra. Temperature in the mid-70s. I'm not sweating too much. When you have a day like this, no better person to accompany you than Jordan Harvey.
You're not sweating too much?
Not sweating too much. A little bit, but normally I'm sweating a lot here.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt, so
You're wearing a sweater, a sweatshirt.
It's coming.
Summer's over, brother.
Yeah.
We have a great show. We're going to look back at LAFC's resounding 4-0 victory over Colorado. That was a pretty convincing effort.
A great lineup, full roster, speaks volumes of everything that's come together, and now heading into the last 11 games. Looking forward to it.
And we're also going to discuss a very important tournament that the Academy's involved in. I know you have your eye on this. The under-17s down at Liga MX. A great opportunity for the kids to get a lot better.
A great chance for us to have amazing international competition in Mexico City. It's 7 games, hopefully a final to make it 8. Kids are playing so well. Tune in if you can and support. The whole club is, that's for sure.
I know. You hear the cheering here during the games. It's very exciting. And we'd like to introduce you to some of the new players, or all the players, really, for LAFC. Filip Krastev, and we're going to get to the bottom of his nickname, which we're going to start calling him.
Go for it.
Fufu.
Yeah, I can roll with that.
We can roll it. We're going to see if we can get that on the back of his shirt at some point. Filip Krastev joining us here on Inside LAFC Podcast. We got Jordan Harvey, and it starts right now. 12 days we waited for a game. It was certainly worth the wait. An added 3 days, obviously, as we had the tropical depression. Were you all right with all of that? Why are you laughing?
Depression?
Isn't it a tropical storm or tropical depression? Everything okay?
Spend time with the family. I
heard that from a lot of people. They enjoyed it.
You know, I mean, I feel for the people who had to endure the flooding,
of course,
and go through all the damage. But we prepared for it, and then we had board games with the family. So that's
very nice. My son wanted to go see his friends. I go, get back in here. You're not leaving in this room. So my son started high school.
Oh wow.
That hits. Trust me, man. You'll hit this one day with your daughters. It'll hit you like a fist.
Until they're gone.
Nothing will prepare you for it, as many of you parents will know. Obviously, I got completely sidetracked with the 3 extra days, but it did apply because we were supposed to play LAFC on Sunday. They play on Wednesday, and they looked really sharp. LAFC defeating the Colorado Rapids 4-0. The Rapids at the foot of the Western Conference. They have a lot of issues, obviously. But I think it's always a good sign, Jordan, when there's a team that you should beat. You should beat convincingly, and that is what LAFC did when they at halftime, clear out in front by 3 goals.
Yeah, and it was a really good lineup. It was the first time Mateusz Bogusz and Tillman started as 8s together, which I thought obviously was successful. And after the long break, as you just alluded to, it's nice to kind of ease your way back in. The opponent wasn't one of those that's flying at the top of the table, so you can ease your way back in. It was a really good, strong lineup, performed really well. And they had the ability, because of Colorado's lineup playing a 3-5-2, for those fullbacks to be aggressive. And you know how I like fullbacks to get in the opponent's face, win balls back higher up the field, and you saw that. You saw a ton of goals, a lot of opportunities, and it was a fun game.
17 goals, I think, in the last 4 games. I believe that is confirmed. 7. By the way, Juarez, LAFC beat 7-1. They've gone back to Liga MX. They won and they tied a game. They're second place, clear. Like 3 points ahead of third place. So a team that LAFC thumped pretty good, they are second in Liga MX, 5 rounds in. It's not like it's just a game or two. But when you look at these goals, does this feel like this is the LAFC that we should get used to seeing when everyone is healthy and ready to go, which is kind of, with Carlos back, was kind of what we had?
Yeah, and that's the exciting thing about this team. It just keeps getting better and better. And similar to last year with all the summer signings, how you looked at the roster and you're like, wow, there's not a crack in that. There's players off the bench that are really impacting the game. And now you saw a lineup where you're bringing Kellen Acosta off the bench. You're bringing Krastev, Stipe, Oliveira, Duenas, like some real quality off the bench that could be starters for any team in this league. And you just see the depth that LAFC has, and you're excited about the remaining 11 games that we have.
Well, Ulysses, who sometimes helps us out on the podcast, he's not here today, but he usually helps us out. See, Marcos, I got him in there. He was saying it was at the moment at the end of the game where you had Stipe, Buwanga, and it was Kike Oliveira. I mean, just three really fast players. And it just emphasizes what you say. It's so many different looks. I don't think anyone can really, truly do that in this league. I've seen most of the clubs out there, but that's just like three guys. Okay, at the end, 80 minutes here to throw these guys at you. At the beginning, you have Carlos Vela, who looked really sharp with his passing and who had missed the last 2 games. So you look at 2.5 weeks for Carlos, looked good. Just, Mario Gonzalez had those misses early on, but got himself in great positions to get him. It's a lot of different options in the attacking spots.
Yeah, and it's going to fall for Mario Gonzalez. He's getting into the right spots, similar to Bawanga when he first came into the fold last summer.
Great comparison,
He was, the XG was high. We talked about XG.
The XG for Mario was very good too.
Yes, and so the confidence is there from the club backing him, the coaching staff. They know what's going to happen, and when it does, it hopefully is just a flurry of goals similar to Bawanga and game-winning goals, title-winning goals that he can deliver. But then the young guys are the ones I'm excited about. Krastev coming on. He has that creativity. He has the engine. Duenas is coming into his own. So it's not just up top. It's in the midfield, and then you obviously still have a Maldonado and a Mamadou Fall who didn't even feature in the game that are also starting caliber center backs. So it's just across the board, and I have to talk about our fullbacks again. That's where I go. Palencia is a stud. He is such a stud.
That little flick back to Carlos.
I talked to Steven Beitashour after the game against Colorado, and he was like, "Who is this guy? He is unbelievable." He's like, and I could quote him on this.
I love it. Who is this guy?
Yeah. Well, he sees him from a distance, but now is the first time he really got to see him up close. And he's like, he defends, he attacks, he does it all. He defends properly. He defends with pride. You see Giorgio, it's just full of pride. That's what Palencia has through and through. And I thought he had an amazing game too.
That fullback guild, that's what I'm laughing at.
We'll just always
Jordan and Beitashour. Forget the other guys. Who is this left back, man? This right back. Really good.
We always go there.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are out there looking for each other. But it is impressive when you look at across the board. The 3 new players, we've seen Mario Gonzalez start 2 games. Much more improvement. Massive improvement, I should say, from Monterrey, where he kind of didn't look like he knew where he was going. He knew where he was going, just the finishing. And then Fufu Krastev, we're going to call him Fufu. I asked him. He said, that's my name, Fufu, so we're going to go with it.
Really?
John Thornton said no.
I'm going to wait to get that confirmation from him before I start going with
I said Fufu. He's like, yep.
All right.
And then Kike Oliveira. I love the nicknames. And then who am I forgetting? Oh, Mario Gonzalez. So the other 2 make their debuts. Oliveira scores.
Yeah.
They're all very different. Krastev, there's something very different when I see him play. Just the lightness. There's players I see them. I always like to call it like he's wearing slippers.
Yeah.
It's like his feet aren't touching the ground and finding space. It's very exciting to see what he could do. They're 3 very different players, which I think just adds to the danger that LAFC can apply to opponents. But is there something that with Krastev? It's
quality.
It is
it's quality. It's quality. We were talking about it during the game with Marco Garces. You see Carlos, a ton of quality. Ball comes to him, he just brings it down with ease. It's like part of his foot, right? You see a lot of that quality and technique with Krastev. It just comes natural. It's 1-2 touch, kind of floating in between lines. He's a young player, and he's going to complement the players that we have well. There's no relying on him. I think that's huge. A lot of times in MLS, you rely on the young players so much that there's too much pressure on them. At LAFC, they can be complementary pieces, which kind of takes the pressure off. Guys like Oliveira, Stipe, Krastev. And so I think, these guys are just going to work into the end of the season and then be big parts of the team next year.
Defensively, in addition to the fullbacks getting forward and being dangerous, they did their defensive duties. John had to make a couple saves, looked very comfortable. And then Giorgio and Aaron Long.
What a great pairing.
But that would appear to be the pairing in the big games moving forward. You always got to be flexible, and we've seen, Jesus Murillo and Daniel Maldonado play really important games and play them well. But that pairing just, they reflect off each other very well. They anything you need a center back to do collectively, it feels like they can do the job.
Yeah, and they complement one another. Aaron Long, you saw a couple times in that game him really having to open it up, and in a way that I hadn't necessarily seen before. 40-yard runs, a couple of them in the second half that he had to just track the runners into the channels, and he was able to do it. He had the top speeds. It was impressive. And then obviously Giorgio, just with his organization, his passing skills, and being in the right place at the right time every time, his consistency, that complements everybody. And so it's a good foundation that has now come together. There's not bad injuries. Everybody is healthy. You have a young group. You have a full roster to make that push.
Giorgio, when he came here, because he's 38, but he's not like a normal 38.
Turned 39.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He had his birthday.
You didn't say happy birthday?
I
Wow.
did, but I got the ages wrong.
Whoa.
I did say happy birthday.
Where's Giorgio?
He's over there. He's having lunch. I did say happy birthday, and I had made a really bad. And you know how I remember? It was a really bad effort to say it in Italian. I should have just said it in English. He's like, no. So 39. This wasn't what he was supposed to do. He started 4 straight games, and in the League's Cup, it was 3 starts in 9 days. Then he comes in here, goes, the distance. What's different? Those are demands. That wasn't expected of him to be like an everyday starter, and maybe it's not, but that's what he's
based
doing
on
now.
how he feels, right?
Yeah.
And that's a credit to the training staff, to him knowing his limits and knowing how to build up and how he feels. The coaching staff working with him in those ways, managing his minutes. It was a slow start in preseason, but now he's really finding his stride and his health. Knock on wood, and it's one of those things that you just go with how he feels. He's obviously one of the best, if not the best, center back in this league, and historically one of the best in the world. And so, just based on how he feels, he'll play, right?
So it's really good. And we'll get a bigger sample size, certainly on the new players and the partnerships. It's different. The depth is a game changer. It's crazy when we look back in June and July, where this team was so stretched, and a lot of guys, where they had to turn to LAFC 2 to fill in. They still might have to do that, but right now, this is, I would imagine, what they were hoping for, wishing for in many ways, because health and international duties and all of that come into play. But right now, it feels almost a full deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously, the departure of Sifu, but even in that, it opens up opportunities for Bogusz to then slide into the 8 position, which I know we're going to talk about a lot of.
Yeah.
But him sliding into that, it's just different opportunities that people have taken, and now you look at Bogusz and you're like, he's an 8, right? He's a midfielder, and he does so well with that, and he fits the game model, the pressure, the creativity, and then the production and goals.
Before he gets here, I wanted to ask you about Mateusz Bogusz and what makes him so special. It feels not only he's playing well, but he feels like you need him in this for LAFC to click at their very best. The goal, which was the identical goal that he scored against Monterrey, he almost flicked it. He goes, "This is my spot," and he finished in the exact same spot. That's a sign of a player in his form, which he can find his spot and deliver from there. But what does he do that makes this team click?
Yeah, I think early on, just to that point, he was finding that rhythm. It just wasn't coming off, but you knew the goals would come. I was part of the group that we got to watch a lot of video of him before he came in. And if you pull up clips of him in the past, he scores some bangers. Not on top of the 18, I'm talking 30 yards out bangers, upper 90s, where it dips just like a De Bruyne, right? He kind of looks like that and how he strikes the ball. And so what he brings to the team is an attacking prowess from the midfield position. His work rate, I'd say his best quality is his mentality. I think he has just a grit that you can't teach. It's a competitiveness. It's a willingness to do whatever it takes to win, and you see that in every play, every action, and it's just infectious. He does it, the other 8 will join in, and it's something that that's what I want to ask him, is where that comes from, because it's something that you want to instill in all your players, is that competitive nature and the little, you sniff things, you have an edge. He has this edge about him that I think is the difference when you talk about him versus other players.
And that piece where LAFC's been so good, and they're a good transition team. They've been exceptional in these last 4 games. And I guess the reason those goals looks familiar because it was in transition. He's always in the picture. He's always in support, which makes him a good outlet, and he's able to find it when the defenses aren't quite ready for it.
Yeah, and he has the versatility to play wherever. I mean, he's played
because they played him in 3 positions already.
Well, yeah, he's played on either wing. He's played as a 9, and now he's played as an
4
8.
positions, that's
yeah,
right.
You could say 5 if you're either side of the 8.
Really
right?
good.
So he has that versatility where, you know, if he's playing well, he can find himself on the field in a number of spots. Now with obviously Oliveira coming, he probably has cemented himself as the 8 position. But man, he fits the game model, and he does everything the coaching staff wants and is looking for in that position.
Very exciting. Everyone had a great time at the stadium to see that. Now they head off to Charlotte on Saturday. First time ever. There's going to be a big turnout for that game. They're expecting around 40,000. I don't know if they're expecting, but they've drawn up to 40,000 there. And then it gets pretty tricky in September. Road games at Philadelphia, road games at St. Louis. As it stands, St. Louis 4 points ahead of LAFC in the West. That's a good target, I would imagine. See if you can get in first in the West to make sure everything goes through.
I mean,
BMO.
you want to win every game here on out, right?
Okay.
That's the goal. And then you obviously have the Campeones Cup against Tigres as well. That'll be a fun one. But yeah, the goal is to focus on each. I mean, it's cliche, but now that you have a group,
they can pull it off.
Yes, and
they feel like they can pull it off.
It's just winning, the remaining 11 games and see where you stand at that point. Because, with the congested schedule at the beginning, you had to lean towards different competitions, and maybe regular season took a hit because of that. But now Leagues Cup done away with, and there's just full focus on regular season and obviously the one game that I mentioned.
Yes, so tricky games. The Galaxy's in September, the Philadelphia game, the St. Louis game, Miami game also, as well as they've played. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. Starting at Charlotte, and I know Ryan Hollingshead after the game talked about it. He goes, those trips are hard. The time zones, the long trip, they're going to go Friday and get there. So it's never going to be easy. That is one of the difficult parts of MLS. That you tell people and they go, oh, yeah, but 5-hour flights, 3-hour time zones, any sport, that's going to take a toll.
No, if you've been in the league long enough, you know that it is so difficult, and it's so difficult for players coming in, especially, say, from Europe, to come in and all of a sudden you're flying 3 or 4 hours to Colorado at altitude, or in the south during the summertime, or going to play on turf. There's these different things that you're like, oh, this is different. I've never done that before. But it just presents its own set of challenges, and Ryan is no stranger to it. He's been
glad he
a
put it
long
out
time,
there.
And so it's about preparing the guys for that. It is turf. This is what the weather's going to be like. This is what the team plays like. Just prepare for that, knowing what you're going to get when you go in.
I didn't see Ryan today. I wanted to ask him, but do you think that was a shot or a cross on his goal?
Did you not ask him? I really want to ask him.
I wanted to ask him. I sent someone down there, and he said he blinked, but that doesn't tell him.
So
I think I'm going to give him the credit.
I'm going to say it was a cross, but to his credit, when you're hitting the ball to the far post, it could either, wind up on Mario Gonzalez's head or it goes in. So to his credit, he made the right decision. I think it was a cross, though.
Expand your options. I go, I'm going to put it there.
Yeah.
Good things will happen.
Exactly.
And it did.
Exactly.
So we'll circle back on LAFC, but this is an exciting time. Check out the game Saturday, 4:30 local, MLS Season Pass on Apple TV to see if LAFC can maintain that momentum. The one half against Monterrey, other than that, it's been fantastic for the club, where everyone's back. Carlos Vela back. A lot of good news. I wanted to talk about a very special tournament. If you've been here, if I've been here the last few weeks, you'll start hearing people cheering. It's because they have, the stream on of the Liga MX Sub-17 Under-17 tournament featuring the best Under-17 teams in Mexico. And they invite some clubs. They invited LAFC for the first time. Palmeiras, who's a monster in Brazil. Atletico Madrid is there. And I want to ask you about this because we know these are the tournaments that you hear about these next players and how a club performs in there outside of the comfort zone, if you can call it that, of MLS. But I know you're really excited to see what does this mean for the club? What does it mean for the people that are participating over there in Mexico?
Yeah, what you mentioned, though, just to start, what we do here at LAFC is we put it on all the screens. So we are streaming the games live. And so on occasion, people will be streamed a little bit ahead, so you hear a cheer just before you see a goal or something like that. I
got one of those.
But the whole club's behind this group that is out in Mexico City right now. They've had, I believe it's 5 5 or 6 games, all of them from Toluca, Santos Laguna, Monterrey. They played Chivas next, and then Atletico Madrid, Palmeiras. It's amazing games, great competition at the academy level. You have games domestically in Southern California or in our region, but nothing compares to international competition. And that's what we're doing, is putting these kids on that stage where they're able to develop and experience things that they wouldn't normally. It's an amazing tournament already. It's a game a day. They've had a couple days off in between a few sets of games. So it's physically taxing. You're asking the whole roster to essentially play. So you're rotating. Every kid is playing. And you said under 17s. I now have switched my mind. It's 2006s all the way down to 2008. So we have majority under 17s, but also under 16s and a few under 15s that have played. So those are 2008. So we actually have brought in, to a point, the best academy players LAFC has to compete at this international stage, and they're doing very well. Right now in second place, the Palmeiras. And I'm just going to keep going here.
Go.
How this tournament unfolds is because it's in Mexico and Mexico City, and it's been organized by these Mexican clubs, Liga MX. A Mexican team is in the final. So you play 7 games, and then at the end of those games, there's only 2 teams in the final. So right now, LAFC lost to Palmeiras. It was the only loss. They beat the Mexican teams across the board. Hopefully Chivas tomorrow. And hopefully Palmeiras, who plays FC Dallas, drops some points, and LAFC can bump up to that first spot on the international group.
Knock Palmeiras out.
Knock
play
Palmeiras
one of the
out.
best Liga MX
and
teams.
play one of the best Liga MX teams, which is, I believe, going to be Santos Laguna, which they already beat. So it's a massive
weird
tournament.
system, Liga MX.
Yes.
Put the best 2 teams in the final.
But listen, it's so
We're
good
kidding.
for our
We're happy to
academy.
be here.
Oh, my God.
But
It's amazing.
what does it
we
mean?
hope to be in it more. We hope to be in it next year and years to come.
That is a proof of concept, right, of the academy, where we go, hey, we're going to get the best. The parents want the kids to get on LAFC. They want to be in the best competitions. You've obviously added, in addition to MLS Next Pro, which is a pipeline for these academy players, to say that they can put here. That's got to do wonderful work. Makes your job easier when you're talking to these parents. Go, we played in this tournament. These kids, when they were 16, 15, played in this tournament. Now they're professional and doing that. That has to go a long way, because this is exclusive. This is an elite tournament.
Yeah, 100%. This is about getting our academy players more exposure, more opportunities to be pushed and challenged and develop. And that's what LAFC 2 is about. That's what a lot of our LAFC 2 players, which you alluded to, have been given opportunities with the first team. So it's about
all working.
It's just about working these opportunities, and hopefully we get all these players to the first team at some point, given just this competitive nature that we have, that we're pushing.
You may not get this information by the time this podcast is published, but it is Sub Internacional, SUBINTERNACIONAL. I know that doesn't help. Subinternacional.ligamx.net, and that's where they can get all the information.
See
maybe
the
watch
standings.
the games.
That's where you stream the games. They'll have links
fingers
to a Facebook link, so you'll see Marco, myself, John, in and around, Mario, in and around, and just on a whim just start celebrating, high-fiving at the PC. Sometimes we'll watch it together, sometimes separately, because Marco gets a little nervous with it. But it's so exciting. We're backing these kids 100%. Everybody's on board, from players to staff, and we hope they can pull it off.
Mark, this has to be some of the Marco effect. Marco Garces has been amazing. They have those relationships with the Liga MX teams, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's absolutely him, Marco, who made it possible for, it's our under-17 kind of graduating class. They would technically be under 18s, but it's the same group, the 2006s, that, are competing and have done well. And I'll mention it again. They've beaten every Liga MX team that they've played, so it's impressive.
That is,
and that's
good.
who we're competing with, right? I mean, the Palmeiras, the Atletico Madrid,
FC Dallas. That's the academy you want to emulate if you're MLS. That in Philadelphia, and the FC Dallas is there, and probably for a big reason, because they are successful and they'll give you good games.
Yeah. Atletico Madrid. I mean, The only team that we had difficulty, we drew with, was FC Dallas. They are, I believe, second or last in the tables right now. They've had some trouble with the Liga MX teams, but again, winning tomorrow. Hopefully, Palmeiras drops points. Marc Dos Santos, it's kind of a ongoing thing within the building because he has ties. He was with Palmeiras for 2 years, only has good things to say. And so even though he's rooting for LAFC, we've kind of pushed him on the Palmeiras side and tried to start some beef here in the PC with him. It's like just manufacturing the beef. You're like, yeah, I know you're pro FC, but
erroneous
you're
cheers.
Palmeiras.
Just kidding. Pointed cheers
yes.
Starting some beef.
Exactly.
And by the way, but this is the thing. Look, I came in here. I remember when I arrived in 2018, and they started the academy before that, and they go, "This is what it's going to look like." You're like, "I can't see it. How these are going to connect?" And now I see it. I really see it. Pumping at full stream for the first time. Even when they always explain it, coming down from the first team. Feeding this, with the academy system that was reconfigured over the last couple of years, and now it's pumping.
And there's still room to grow,
of course.
And there's still such an amazing group here, staff, the academy staff, second team staff, first team. Just that alignment is so difficult because we're operating separately for so long. With the second team being in Vegas, academy being too young to actually influence the second team and first team. And now that we have a group old enough, we have the second team in-house, LAFC2, and the first team. This alignment is so tough to organize and to kind of manage given this first year, but we're working out that stuff. And, the whole point is to get players to the first team. And you're seeing that. The opportunities are there. Training sessions, U.S. Open Cup. You've seen it. We've probably talked about it on the podcast. It's exciting. It's exciting.
It's been a lot. Everything is in place, and you see the staff here and the attention and the love that they do it. I never take for granted being here to share time with you, to share time with this club, especially now because you could see it starting to click, and it just all of that means the future is going to be even brighter. And I can only get excited to think of what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years. But it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. There's going to be a second floor here. There's going to be a giant statue of me over there in the media term. I'm just kidding. Relax. Relax. I think that's plenty. A lot of exciting stuff. We're just, the tip of the iceberg for LAFC, but we'll be back. We will be joined by one of the new faces for the black and gold. Bulgarian midfielder Filip Krastev talks about his love for the United States and what dance will he do next. That's next. Welcome back to Inside LAFC podcast, and we got to get something out of the air. We're here with Filip Krastev. I asked you last time, is it okay to call you Fufu? You said yes.
Yeah, of course.
I need to know the history of that nickname.
It's really simple. The history of the nickname is just from my parents when I was very, very young, and they wanted to think of something different because for my name there are a lot of different nicknames, but this one I haven't heard it anywhere, so my parents created it for me.
So they thought, okay, Fufu.
Yeah,
There's been a
exactly.
Fafa in the league, but not a Fufu.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is different. It's a first.
Did you consider putting Fufu on your shirt at one point?
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah,
but
He's
yeah.
messing with you.
No, I'm not.
No.
Mario G gets to put Mario G on his back. It looks
Yeah,
kinda cool.
yeah.
You did really think about putting Fufu.
Yeah, I think it.
That's awesome.
It would look cool, but yeah.
I'd buy your jersey.
I respect my family name, so yeah.
And then getting back into the hard-hitting questions, I've been talking to your teammates, and they said that you're coming up with some good goal celebrations. What is the next one? The first one was the Giddy.
Yeah.
Is it the Giddy or is it the Gritty?
Is it Gritty
The
or
Gritty? Yeah.
Gritty?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know,
Yeah.
dude. I'm so old. Oh my god.
I didn't know either.
I'm so old.
We can't edit that out. We're
No,
gonna
give
let it all out.
What's the next celebration?
Normally, it's this is the main celebration.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sometimes I like to mess around to do some dances, of course, with some other guys. But yeah, this is the main celebration. It's because of Justin Jefferson. Yeah, a couple years back when I
The
seen
Gritty.
it from him. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Gritty, and yeah, I started to do it after I score. So yeah.
Do you watch it? Do you watch a lot of NFL in Bulgaria?
Yeah, when I was in Bulgaria, the games were very late, and it was hard to watch it. But yeah, I follow the NFL. And
Wait
the
a
NBA
second.
a lot.
You watch NFL?
Yeah.
So we've
He's
been talking to
been-
Hollingshead about doing fantasy football
Yeah.
league.
Oh, can I get in on that?
Wait,
Yeah.
are you wanting to do this?
I talked to Kenny Acosta, And Keo said that he can put me in the league. Yeah.
Dude,
course.
yes, you know
Yeah.
It's the best moment in
Yeah.
podcast
You
history.
You know the punishment though. You know the punishment?
For the last guy?
Yes.
No, I thought only it was a prize, like who wins.
So there's a price, but then there's also a punishment
Yeah.
for last place. You have to camp out one night on the LAFC training
Oh,
pitch.
wow.
Oh, that's rough.
I won't be less. So
Yes, you won't be last. Good, good. Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
You were meant to come and play in the
Oh.
United States.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't know this when I was asking you, because your English is so good. And I said, "Where'd you learn it?" You said, "In Bulgaria, it's taught, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
And you must have practiced a lot.
Yeah, normally it's the people in Bulgaria study English, so if you go there, I think a lot of people can help you with the English. But yeah, I think it's not very hard to learn English nowadays. So yeah,
Did it help with
It's not very
your?
hard.
Did it help with your decision to come to LAFC?
yeah. Of course, the language barrier is a very tough thing because I've been in countries where I don't speak the language, and it's really nice to understand everything and to be able to communicate with the other guys. So yeah, of course.
What has been your favorite thing? Obviously, getting a goal in your debut. Not many players can do that. But what has been your favorite thing having come to LAFC and now been in this environment? What do you like most, or you weren't expecting, I guess, coming in?
Yeah, I think it's the atmosphere here is amazing, and it's like very balanced because the people here are very professional and they work really hard, but at the same time they are chill and they have fun. So I really like this about LAFC, and yeah, it's amazing place to be at.
Let's talk about the way you play, because I don't see a lot of players like you in this league. I cover it all, and working in tight spaces, combining. How would you, when you wanted to start playing, and you became the player that you were, what were the things you wanted to excel at? What are the things you worked on?
Normally when I was young, I was always playing like a number 10 offensive midfielder, and I've always liked to dribble, to attack, to take risks. And the last few years I was forced to play a little bit more defensive roles, so I changed my game a little bit. But for me, the most important thing is to have fun, to play offensive football, to take risks, and to have fun on the field. So that's what I try to do, but I try to be effective, of course, as well, and help the team.
A number 10 with some defensive awareness sounds perfect for this club.
It's huge. It's huge. And what is it? And I've watched film of you before you even came here. But what is it about LAFC's game model and the style of play that attracted you?
Yeah, I think lately I've watched a lot of MLS games and for the Leagues Cup, and I've seen how other teams play, and I think our style of play is more connected like to the European style of play, and we play like we don't leave so much spaces in our tactical positioning is better than the other teams, so I think that's what can separate us from the other teams, so we can be like we can play a different style. We play like a European team. No. Yeah.
You're a part of this team, right? You're playing, you're logging minutes, you're scoring goals. I mean,
Joining fantasy football leagues?
joining fantasy football.
Doing
Hopefully
it.
not camping here at the Performance Center. We need footage of that whenever that happens, whoever's camping. What was the conversations like when they brought you here about what they wanted you to do? What are they saying? We have envisioned you. You're the exact type of player that we want. How can we get you to come here and do the job that we need you to do?
Yeah, mostly the most important thing it was always just to be myself, to settle fast with the guys. Normally I've never had problems with any teams I've been
see
there.
why.
So yeah, I'm friendly. I think I'm a good guy. I'm a team player. So yeah, it's been easy for me here to settle with the team and to feel a part of the squad very fast.
And it's been not so long since you've just came into the fold, but off the field, what is it about LA that you've enjoyed so far?
Yeah, off the field, I haven't really had much time
Yeah.
to see a lot of the city, but I'm really excited. I know a lot about Los Angeles because me personally, the music, the sports, I like a lot of things about the USA, and yeah, I think I'll have enough time to to find more about this city, and I have some Bulgarian people here that can help me with some of the guys also, and
So you like NFL? What other sports? What kind of music
Yeah.
do you like? Off the top of your head, but it's obviously American, the music and
Yeah.
culture that you enjoy.
Yeah, normally it's American, like the old school rap, pop, some, yeah.
Right on.
Most of the music I listen to is American,
Okay, well, I gotta ask you about Bulgarian football, because when I'm a lot older than you. You probably
Yeah.
don't remember, but maybe it was passed on to you. But my first recollection of Bulgarian football was the '94 World Cup
Yeah, in USA.
in USA, and they remember Bulgaria and Mexico because you guys knocked them out. Then you knocked out Jurgen Klinsmann in Germany, and I
Yeah.
said, this is amazing. They made the semifinals. Then they made the next World Cup. Haven't made a World Cup since. So what has
Yeah.
the Bulgarian football been like? Obviously, I know they want to make major tournaments. You've been capped 11 times, so you could be a big part of that. But where is Bulgarian football now with that incredible past and looking forward now?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. The situation in the Bulgarian national team, it's been really tough. Since the last time we played in a big format like the European Championship in 2004, we haven't qualified to a big tournament since then. And I think some other countries in Europe are developing so fast, and there were countries that were way below us, and now they're reaching us, and they even take us out, and they're getting better than us. So we should change something in Bulgaria. We should change the system, change everything, because there is a lot of talent in Bulgaria, but something doesn't work out, and the national team hasn't been good, like really good in a long time. So the same situation is with the league, with the Bulgarian clubs. There are a lot of foreign players playing there, and I think the last 2-3 years the level has risen up. But still, I think there's a lot of room for development in Bulgarian football.
I look forward to seeing that. Have you ever? Risto Stoichkov lives out here. Has he reached out to you by chance?
Yeah.
He has?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You Bulgarians look after each other.
Yeah, of course.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
When did you know when you were a kid about you were going to be? This was the sport you wanted to play. You wanted to get into sports.
Yeah, I think since I was like very, very, very young, I was 3-4 years old, and I started to play with my dad and my parents, and then I started to train at 7. So basically, since my whole life, I've always wanted to be a professional at this sport, and it's always been my dream to play football. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
And what is your goal now moving forward?
Yeah, I have very big goals. I try to be the best player that I can be, and I don't set some limits to myself. So I work hard every day, and I think always the sky's the limit when you work hard and you have big dreams. So yeah.
Good answer. And you said
Yeah.
you watch a lot of MLS, so you're familiar now
Yeah,
with clubs
yeah.
and what's required. There's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
have you ever been to Charlotte? Are you going to?
Yeah, I know it's a long travel
Long
to
trip?
Charlotte. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. When I was in Bulgaria, I didn't know much about the game that's played here. I've only watched highlights, and now I have a better picture when I see some games, when I watch some tape of other teams, and now I think I'm more familiar with the style here and how the teams play.
I'm going to remember this conversation when he's at the World Cup with Bulgaria. Going, we finally put the work in.
Yeah,
He's got Fufu on the back for the whole world. Hey, we really appreciate you joining us. It means a lot.
Yeah.
It's great to get to know you a little better. You're a delightful young man, and I know I speak for the club. We're happy to have you here, and you're off to a great start.
Yeah, for me it was also a pleasure speaking to you guys, and yeah, we can do it again
And
sometime.
take a running back in the first round.
We
Yeah.
could have
You know
ended this podcast right after he said he joined the league. In all honesty, I was done.
It's been a great podcast. Really appreciate you joining us. We're getting you closer to this LAFC roster, including Filip Fufu Krastev here. Big plans and big hopes for him as he moves forward. Of course, Jordan, first class, who brings us inside. Fantastic. I hope neither of you guys lose the Fantasy Football League. I obviously can't play, but I'll be paying attention from afar. Make sure you rate, review, download, subscribe. Inside LAFC Podcast. We'll be back again next week recapping Charlotte and looking forward to the big one against Inter Miami. Have a good one.